everybody, Weeb here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload podcast, episode 42. I am excited because when we left off last time, just throwing it out there, we were like, hey, I hope this one thing happens, because then that will give us something to talk about, and that would be very cool. And if this thing happens, that would be awesome. And I was kind of excited, hoping it would happen, because I had heard rumors. And sure enough, what I'm talking about is that, yes, a Nintendo Direct dropped. And I guess Sony was there too. They had a present. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so cool that we were like, oh man, wouldn't it be so cool if we had like a Nintendo Direct to talk about? And then it happened. And so now we get to talk about it on the podcast. So that is awesome. So I'm excited. In a moment, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct. We're going to go over it in detail. We're also going to touch upon the state of play, because there was some all right stuff in there too, actually. It was all right. And yeah, that's basically what's going to happen in this podcast. So none of our week or any other news stories. We'll save that for next week. It gives us more time to build stuff up. But yes, I hope you guys are excited for the new video game news. Lots of stuff. You already heard Legend of Jonathan. He's here, of course. Just say hello, though. Tell people how you're doing.
Yo, what's up, guys? I've been good. And yeah, I'm excited, guys. I'm super excited to get into this because, as you heard the man, there was a Nintendo Direct, and I wasn't sure if those rumors were true or not. And when I saw that, obviously there was going to be a Nintendo Direct, I was like, let's go. We have something great to talk about this week.
Yeah, and it's so funny because Nintendo did the same thing it always does, where it's like, it's going to be tomorrow.
One day
They always do that. They always do that.
I hate it. Yeah, I hate it.
It's so weird, right? Anyway, that aside, yes, I'm excited. Before we get to Nintendo Direct, like I said, there was also State of Play, so I want to kind of go over that briefly. So, State of Play was the same day as the Direct. The Direct was in the morning, and then the State of Play was later in the evening, I think, or maybe it was like after a little afternoon, maybe. I don't remember when it, I don't remember. But the point is, it was later in the day, and yeah, it had some stuff that was all right. That was kind of interesting. For instance, the opening was kind of weird. They're putting a really big focus on that game, Baby Steps, where you're walking as the guy and he like walks all weird. I don't know why they're putting such a big emphasis on that game. I know they also showed it off during like the last State of Play, I want to say, or like some other event. I don't know why they're really making a big deal about that game, but it opened with that. And I mean, the game looks unique, I guess. So that's something. Then after that, they're basically like, yeah, we have a lot of games to show you today, blah, blah, blah. We want to start with the VR games. And the VR games actually look kind of cool. One of them is a Ghostbusters game. So I think it's called like the Ghost Lord or something. I forget what it's called. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can find the title real quick. If I can't find it, it's whatever. But it's some sort of like a ghost. Yeah, Rise of the Ghost Lord. Looks like you're running around using the proton pack and all that to capture ghosts. Looks kind of cool. And then after that, they reveal that there's going to be a VR mode for Resident Evil 4, the remake.
So that was super cool.
That looks really cool. And I'm like, it makes sense because they made a VR version on it was one of those, VR things. I think it was like Oculus Quest, right? I think like Quest 2, I think. They made like a VR version of the original RE4. I don't think it ever came to like PlayStation though. Like I said, I think it was like a Quest thing. But this one is going to be on VR, PSVR 2. And it looks really cool.
It does.
And then from that, it went directly into talking about DLC for that same game. And a lot of people were wondering if this was coming. I don't remember if this got announced before or like teased or anything, but at least now it's for sure confirmed that just like the original game, eventually it got a bunch of like DLC, including a lot of like mercenary stuff and a bunch of like different like new game plus stuff, or stuff like that, right? Like the point is the game came with a lot of stuff. One of the things that I had that was really cool is this like other campaign called Assignment 8 was the other thing I was thinking about, but that one was just like little missions. There was like a whole other campaign called Separate Ways, where you play as Ada Wong, and basically it shows what she's doing before, because along the way of Leon's journey, there's points where you run into Ada Wong, and it's really obvious that she's doing like her own thing. And it's pretty cool because Separate Ways kind of shows you what she's doing in between those little meetings with her. And basically, yeah, they just confirmed that, like, yeah, that's coming. And, that's really cool. So it's coming as DLC. And then not only that, but they're also going to have, it's coming really soon, too. That was the thing. It's coming September 21st.
Yeah, that's super
So
soon.
literally, like, within, like a week or less, it's coming. So that's really cool. And then, they said, Mercenaries free update, same day. And it has like a picture of Ada Wong and Wesker. So I guess they're adding them to, the Mercenaries mode or whatever. So that's a pretty cool stuff for RE4. So a VR mode, Separate Ways campaign, and a free Mercenaries update. So that was really cool. So that was really
pretty lit.
Yeah, that was pretty lit. Everything looks really, really good. So that was really cool. Then from there, they kind of showed some random stuff off. Like they showed that new Avatar game that's coming out. They showed like some more footage and cutscenes and stuff. And honestly, it looks all right. They didn't show too much gameplay. I think most of it was cutscenes, at least from what I can tell. But the little bit of gameplay they did show, it kind of reminded me of something like maybe like Far Cry, where you're running around like a jungle and there's like a lot of like shooting and like other weapons you can use and like stuff you can ride around on and stuff. From what I saw, it looked all right. Like I said, from what I noticed, there wasn't that much gameplay. A lot of it was just cutscenes. But at least the stuff that you saw, it seemed kind of cool. And yeah, it's like a Far Cry game, but like really colorful. Because, Avatar has like a really interesting like color palette. So they showed that. Then they showed some games. I don't even know what they are. I'll just kind of skip over those. They announced that there's going to be like some new, there's going to be a red, blue, and white controller and PS5 like skin, I believe, or like maybe those little like face plates. I'm not really sure, but there's like different colors coming out. More random stuff. I don't really know what any of that is, so I'm just kind of skipping over it. They showed Spider-Man 2, which is really cool. Showed a lot of gameplay. Talked about stuff like how you can switch between characters and. It's going to be all like the upgrades and like costumes and stuff you can add and all that stuff. The game looks great. I'm really excited to play it. It looks really, really cool.
It looks super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. This shows a little bit of Venom, a little bit more of Kraven, that sort of thing. Then some RPGs and stuff. I don't really recognize them. So if I'm skipping over them, sorry. It's just I don't really, it didn't really catch my attention. It's just like, it's fine. But yeah, it showed a bunch of other like RPGs and stuff. I think it showed Honkai Star Rail at some point. It showed that Square Enix game, the one that looks kind of like Splatoon, that has to do with like foam. All that stuff was like all right, I guess. Didn't really catch my attention. Then at the very end, because that's what I'm saying. It was all right. It wasn't great, but it had some cool stuff. At the very end, which is really cool, is that they closed off with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is like the second chapter of the remake thing. And I don't really know. There's just so much they showed. A lot of story stuff, a lot of gameplay. It confirmed that, yes, you're going to have your original 4 party members, plus Red 13, Kate Sith, and Yuffie. Yuffie, that's what it shows. And then, yes, there's a part where they show Vincent. It looks like they awaken Vincent from his slumber in his coffin. That's really cool. There's a part where you're teaming up with Sephiroth, that's really interesting. And a lot of gameplay moments. Actually, no, not gameplay. Actually, that's the thing. It's not even gameplay. A lot of cutscene moments where it's Zach hanging out with Cloud. And, excuse me. Sorry about all right, you talk. I need to take a little drink.
So basically, there's some parts where it'll show like Cloud and Zach, but then it's like kind of awkward. Well, it's awkward because you don't know what's happening, but it's like the weird way that they're implicating it is that that's taking place, like in the past, I guess, when like Shinra was being kind of like established as like like the new government of like Midgard and all that, and it's showing that dude, the son of like the main dude from like the original trilogy, like he's like being like like kind of like how do you call it? Like they're passing the torch on to him of being like the big like honcho, like being the boss, and that like I guess like yeah, for some reason Zach's just hanging with like Cloud, but then like the way they kind of show Cloud is that like it's not like past Cloud, and that I guess like yeah, like it's like they're in the past for some weird reason, and that there's like a younger like Tifa, like where she has like the hat and all that, and then like Zach is just kind of like yeah, like can you like take care of my friend for a bit or something like that, and it's like a weird like thing like that. It was like really confusing.
Yeah, so this second part looks like I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if
Hmm.
there's going to be like a separate timeline that's going to be established or what's going to happen. Because, yeah, basically, as Legend Jonathan explained as I was taking a little drink there, because my throat. Yeah, there's just like this whole weird thing with Zach hanging out with Cloud, because it's supposed to be after he survives this time, the attack by Shinra, and
Hmm.
Cloud is still, I guess, kind of under the effects of the Mako poisoning or whatever, Mako poisoning.
Hmm.
So it's like they wander into town, and as they wander into town, yeah, it's like Shinra's taking over. Like something's happening. They're having some sort of a big festival parade thing, and everyone's kind of like there, and Rufus is like center stage. And yeah, he basically like talks to what looks like, I want to say it's a younger Tifa, and he's like,
Hmm.
hey, can you watch my buddy for a second? So I don't
Yeah.
know. I really don't know where this is going. It's so weird.
Hmm.
But that's kind of what they show us. They just show us a lot of random footage and gameplay and stuff, and it looks really interesting. It looks really good. It looks really cool that at least from what we can tell, there's going to be like at least 7 people we can play as, different people, maybe even more. And I don't know. I'm just really excited because I know some people aren't too fond of how it's supposed to be like a remake, but it kind of took its own direction and stuff. But I'm
Hmm.
really excited. I really want to see where this goes. So,
Yeah, same.
and that's kind of what it ended off with. And then the very last thing is that it said a release date, and it says available worldwide February 29th, 2024.
Yo, think that's crazy. That's cool.
So that's really cool. So that's really
That's
exciting.
super cool. Yeah.
So the Sony State of Play was all right. It wasn't like the best, but it still had some cool stuff like Spider-Man, Final Fantasy VII, the VR stuff, the Resident Evil 4, DLC and everything. So not bad. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty
Hmm.
cool.
So pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's basically it for the Sony one. As always, we'll have a link in the description so you can check it out for yourself. We're going to link an article where it says all the news and trailers so you can kind of scroll through it, watch it at your own leisure or whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, pretty cool. Not bad, not bad. Yeah. Now, though, moving on to the main course, that was like the appetizer, basically. Moving on to the main course, the other one that we said is the one that got us kind of excited that we were wondering if it was going to happen, and then it got announced, is that there was a Nintendo Direct. So that
Hmm.
was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was super lit.
And yeah, we're just going to kind of go in order of the different things that they showed. And again, we'll go in order and we'll talk about our thoughts and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty exciting. Okay, we're getting a Nintendo Direct. I'm just going to mention that going into it, the rumors were there's going to be a Direct soon, and there's supposed to be a announcement having to do with Donkey Kong and one having to do with F-Zero.
Hmm.
And when I had told Legend Jonathan, real quick before we actually talk about it, I had said there's been a rumor for the longest time about maybe a 3D Donkey Kong. They haven't really done one since they did Donkey Kong 64.
Hmm.
So I've heard about that for the longest time. I'm like, I wonder if this could be where they're finally going to announce it. Because, we're kind of getting near the end of the Switch's life cycle. Maybe that's what they'll mention. And as for F-Zero, I remember telling them I don't think it's going to be a new game. I very much doubt it. I think it's either going to be like a port of the GameCube game, and maybe that could lead into like a little thing about the Nintendo Switch Online, maybe GameCube stuff. I don't know, but I was thinking it's either going to be like a port of the GameCube game, or because I had heard like 1 or 2 people mention it, and it seemed very likely to me they're going to do some sort of limited time thing like Mario was it 35 and like the Pac-Man 99 thing. I
Hmm.
think it's going to be something like that, but for F-Zero. So
Hmm.
that was what I thought going in. Now, actually talking about it, going in, so it's pretty cool. So they opened the direct by showing the DLC for Splatoon 3. It's the second wave of DLC. It's called Side Order. And as I was telling Jonathan, even though I'm not really like a big Splatoon person or anything, I'm still really impressed with how well the game is done. And like all the DLC is always like really cool. Like they definitely have like some really cool lore and stuff. And sure enough, it's just like this really cool thing where it looks like you're like in this tower, and it looks like you're fighting your way through it and unlocking all sorts of different like buffs or like stuff to like kind of change. Like it's like oh, there's a screen where it says like, oh, you'll get like different splash damage or run speed increase and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, that's pretty cool. So it's like, challenges, and you're making your way through like this tower. That's pretty cool, and unlocking lore, I guess. So not bad. Then the next thing they talked about was, sure enough, Donkey Kong related, but a bit disappointing, at least for me, because it was Mario versus Donkey Kong, a remake of the Game Boy Advance original title. So it looks good. It looks really good, honestly. And that's pretty cool for all the people who are, excited and they like the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. And it had been a while since they had made one, I guess. But it's just kind of disappointing. They're like, oh, that's the Donkey Kong announcement. I was hoping it would be like a 3D Donkey Kong or like something bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, with me, I never expected them to make a remake anyways of like the Mario games, these ones. I honestly just thought the series died, and I was kind of like, oh, another series that Nintendo decides to kill off. All right. Me, I am more of a fan of this series, actually, like for reals.
Okay.
So it is cool, and I feel like this might be a step in the direction that, they're experimenting, they're trying to bring it back in some way. And I feel like, okay, this is cool and all. I think this is also implying that obviously this is a way to bring back Donkey Kong, I guess, to the spotlight again, in a sense, because you know how we haven't had like a Donkey Kong port or new game in years too. I feel like maybe this is a way to just say, hey guys, like obviously Mario's in the picture, but like Donkey Kong's here too. Maybe you guys might care about Donkey Kong more, I guess. Like, if we slap Mario in there, like, I don't know.
But I feel like people do care about Donkey Kong, though. Like, the games have always sold really well, so I don't think that's ever been a problem.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess it's to kind of show, like if people, like, have interest in the series more, they kind of will get in that direction of making more of this series, but then also being like, hey, let's make, like, now that we're done with this remake, let's, like, make a new, like solo Donkey Kong game again, basically. Like Donkey Kong Country or like a new Donkey Kong 64 type of game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just guessing all this stuff because you know how Nintendo's kind of weird with their like marketing and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just going full on like, because I'm just kind of like, hey, like Nintendo can do anything, they want, and like I could be right for all people know somehow.
I guess. I mean, I don't really think that's the direction they're going in. I think they just wanted to revive Mario and Donkey Kong, because I'm totally forgetting that series even existed, honestly. I think this is just testing, hey, do people want more of this series? But like you said, you could be right about Donkey Kong as a whole, I guess, because Nintendo is weird, so I won't say you're wrong. Like, I don't think so, personally, but like, you never know. 'Cause, Nintendo's weird with stuff, so... But yeah, I totally forgot Mario and Donkey Kong versus Donkey Kong existed. So like, that's coming back, I guess. But like I said, if you like the series, good for you. There you go. They're remaking the very first one from what I heard. I'm pretty sure this is the very first one. So
this is the first one, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool, I guess. And that's coming next year, February.
Nice.
Then from there, that's where we kind of had a little bit of they were kind of doing little short things of a bunch of like smaller scale games. So they showed some footage of the Prince of Persia game. It's like that, like what like you would call like side-scrolling one, I guess, right? So they showed some footage of that. It's called Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. They showed a game called Horizon Chase 2 that kind of reminds you of cruising, where it's like these like bright, colorful cars and they're racing in different environments and stuff. They showed a really weird one called Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. That it's like a rhythm game but like a party game at the same time, where like it's like you and up to like it's like up to 4 people. They have to like do all these like little weird like music rhythm based puzzles to like get through the environment and like to make their way through like the castle. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Looks interesting, I guess. And then they showed a Spy Family game.
Oh,
that was really weird.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Spy Anya Operation Memories. Or apparently it's like, oh, Anya, they gave her like this like task at school to like make like a scrapbook or like something about like her life and like her memories like with her family and stuff. And so it's like you're doing all sorts of like activities, like both like at school, like at home. And so I don't know, it shows her hanging out like with Lloyd and Yor and Bond, and she's just like, you know, hanging out, running around and doing all sorts of family stuff at the beach and stuff and going to museums. And when she's at school, she's being a little shit, and like it shows her playing a card game with that kid. What's his name? Damien. And I guess you're gonna be able to like cheat and use like your powers to like beat him, I guess. I don't know. It looks interesting. I don't know. But I never thought like a game like that would come out. And it's like, alrighty then, a Spy Family game starring Anya. Like, why not? I'd check it out. It looks interesting enough.
Same.
And then yeah, they have Yor and all sorts of different outfits, which is super cute. So all right, you know, bestseller. Yeah. Bestseller. Then after that, they moved on to Super Mario RPG. And they gave us, you know, more footage, and it was pretty cool because we had talked about this too before when we're like, oh, I wonder what they'll talk about in the direct. Like, what are you like expecting and whatever? And you had mentioned like, oh, I think they're gonna talk about Mario RPG again to remind people, you know, it's coming out soon. And you even said, I think they're gonna talk about some new features. And you were right, because they talked about how there's gonna be a thing where I guess kind of like almost like a new game, not new game plus. That's when you play it all over. Post game, you'll be able to challenge bosses again, but they'll be harder this time. So like that's really interesting. And then there's going to be some new gameplay stuff where if you get like because this game's all about timing. So like for instance, if they're attack you and you press like the defense button at the right time, you'll take less damage, or like the enemy might even miss. And likewise, if you time your attacks the right way, it'll do like extra damage. So what they're saying is that basically if you time your attacks the right way, not only will you do like the extra damage to like the person you're targeting, but it'll even like do like almost like a little area of effect where it'll hurt everybody else around them too. So like that's kind of cool. That's pretty cool. And then they're also adding a as you're building up, like you're attacking correctly and stuff, it's building up like a little like gauge, a little gauge. And when it fills up to 100, you can actually do a 3-way team attack. And depending on who's in your party, the attacks will be different, which is pretty cool. So I'm like, all right, so they're adding some new stuff. So like, not only does the game have like, you know, all new graphics and all that good stuff, but they're adding like some stuff here and there too to make it a little different. So like, not bad, you know, that sounds pretty exciting. I already wanted to play it, but like now, okay, there's an even bigger reason to check it out. So that's really cool. Then from there, they moved on to something that really surprised me, because it's one of those things that, like, again, like we're saying, sometimes you think series are like dead or you don't really know what's going to happen with them. They're just like really dormant. And then they just like pull this out and you're like, holy crap, didn't expect this. There's this series that's on the DS and then on the Wii. And I've been wanting to cover it. Like, I hope to cover it on my little thing I do on my channel, the what do you call it? The Wii, my little Wii series where I cover games, especially the ones that are kind of less well known. I kind of cover them, talk about like the history of them. Yeah, but I guess I didn't feel like the name was important. I was just saying like the thing where I talk about the Wii games. But yes, it's the Forget Me Not. Yes, exactly. So yeah, go check that out, I guess, guys. I've done like 3 of them. The point is, I want to do more of those, but it's just kind of hard because like the editing and like wanting like to have like the best footage and like stuff like that. You know what I mean? Having to write a script, etc. But that aside, there's a game I've been wanting to cover, and it's called Another Code R, and I believe like across the pond, it's called Trace Memories. And yeah, basically didn't expect any more of this series, and sure enough, they're like, yeah, we're making a collection. It's called Another Code Recollection, where it's both the DS game and the Wii game, and
Hmm.
they're like totally remade because those used to be like little. They looked almost, you can almost say like, I don't know, just think about how they would look on like the DS, especially that first one, and they're just getting remade with new assets and like voice acting, all sorts of good stuff, and the collection's gonna have both games. And I'm like, that's really cool because it's like this really interesting game that's kind of like a point and click where you investigate everything around you and you're doing puzzles and all sorts of stuff. And if you've might have seen that there's like a trophy for it Smash and stuff, and like I don't know, it's just really interesting. Like I said, one of these days I need to really cover the game, and especially since that collection's coming out, it's one of those things to just keep an eye out for because it's a very interesting series. So
Yeah.
Then after that, we finally got more information about the Princess Peach game because that showed it off in June, but we didn't have a title. We didn't really have any of the gameplay. It was just like, hey, it stars Peach. It has to do with like a stage play. And we finally got information about it that is called Princess Peach Showtime. And basically, yeah, it's like she goes to like the theater with some of her toads, and this like evil masked person shows up and like takes over everything. And it's up to Peach to like save the day. And it's really
Hmm.
cool because she's teaming up with this like little star ribbon thing called Stella, and it's gonna give her all these like different like costumes and powers, which is like really cool. So she's gonna have the ability to use a sword. She has the ability to be a detective. She has the ability to do like this little like weird baking mini game. She has the
Hmm.
ability to do martial arts. So it's like a Princess Peach game where she has all these different abilities based on these different costumes, and it looks really interesting. It looks really cool. Oh, and
Yeah,
then
that's super cool.
the first one you get that you can like use like a ribbon. I forgot about that one because
Hmm.
that one's pretty basic. She basically has like the same costume. They just add like a little ribbon to her hair. So I think the first one you get, I think. But yeah, there's also like
Hmm.
a little ribbon power. But yeah, and that's not even like everything. They didn't even reveal everything. But like basically for like the different areas of the theater, it's like they're gonna switch up the gameplay for like each area, and you're gonna get to do like different like gameplay and like different costumes, and like it looks really cool. Like it shows Peach like sword fighting, and it almost looks like a character action game. And when she's freaking doing the martial arts, like literally it shows her like parrying like someone's attack and just like fighting. It looks really interesting,
Hmm.
honestly. And I'm like, that is really cool. That like, yes, we got a Peach game before. It was all right, but this one definitely looks like they're really stepping it up. Like they're really raising the bar for her. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm definitely hyped for this one.
Yeah, I really want to check that out. And it's coming out
Hmm.
March 22nd of next year.
Yeah.
I really want to get that game. And I really hope people support it because, like, more Princess Peach is pretty cool. Like the fact she's getting another game finally. I think that's awesome.
Hmm.
Then from there, we had like some smaller stuff. They showed a game called Saga Emerald Beyond. It's some RPG. Honestly, I don't really have much to say about it. They announced that there's going to be a Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster. So those like
Hmm.
original Tomb Raider games, the ones that were like like the original PS1, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be like a remaster of those, 1 through 3. And it's pretty cool because you can switch between the original polygon graphics or like this new, like more smooth looking, like updated graphics at any time. So that's kind of cool. They show Detective Pikachu again. Honestly, this is like the third time they show it. It looks exactly the same. It's just like, hey, it's
Hmm.
Pikachu. You can team up with Pokemon. So same thing as last time. They showed some really weird game called Trombone Champ, where you're gonna think about something like Guitar Hero or like DJ Hero or whatever, where you're like, recreating like songs and stuff, and you're playing a trombone, and it's gonna have either motion controls or you can like do this weird thing with the gyro controls. So gyro controls or like IR based, where you like move your hand in front of the remote. So like that's really
Yeah.
weird. Some game called Battle Crush that looks all right. Not really much to say about it. Some game called War Tales that I guess is like a what, like a same thing, like an RPG, I guess. I don't really know. Or like what do you call one of those? Those tactical games, right? One of those, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, there's gonna be like some sort of Contra game. but it's a Contra like in 3D. I don't know. It's like a spin-off, I guess. A game called Unicorn Overlord that's by Atlas. Same people that make the Persona games. And it's some sort of like a tactical RPG sort of thing. I've heard about it before. It looks all right, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. Then this one was really interesting. They showed more of Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah, that made me
What's
hyped.
really interesting is that they showed off the graphics. Okay, pretty cool. They talked about, hey, there's going to be online stuff, which, the original one had, blah, blah, blah. The weird part, this game was called Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, right? For some reason, in this version for the Switch, they're dropping the subtitle and they're only calling the game Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. So really interesting. I wonder why they decided to do that. I really wonder.
Yeah, especially because we know that here we didn't have the number. We just had the subtitle, which was kind of weird. And then, like, in other countries, it was simply just, like, the number. It's kind of weird that they dropped, for, like, the US release especially, they dropped the subtitle and just, like, replaced it with the number and just added the HD at the end. That's kind of weird, honestly.
Yeah, I really don't. It's very, very strange. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe they're just trying to do it so that, like, I guess it's more, like, uniform, you know what I mean? So, like, okay, now in all countries it's called Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. And then in all countries the third one is just called Luigi's Mansion 3. Maybe it's something like that, where they realized that it was kind of weird they added a subtitle, and so they're kind of like, okay, let's make it so like it's the same for everybody now, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I really don't know. It's really weird, but yeah, really interesting little detail that we both noticed. We were both talking about that yeah, they dropped the subtitle. It's just Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. But regardless, it looks really cool. I'm really excited. I don't know when we're going to finish Tears of the Kingdom, the playthrough on the channel.
I wonder too, yeah.
But yeah, since we did play Luigi's Mansion 1, I would love to, now that this is coming to the actual Switch, so we don't have to like figure out some weird way to like emulate the second one or record off of like a 3DS. I would love to play the second one now.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Because now we would be able to do like all 3 games, on the channel. So that's really cool. Then after that, they kind of took a little bit of a break. And then they kind of went like, oh, guys, there's going to be like a Nintendo museum that's opening up in Japan. And there's some amiibo figures that are coming up. And that was kind of cool, I guess. So it looks interesting enough. The amiibo figure I'm really excited for, although I doubt I'll be able to buy it because amiibos sell out so quick. They're making the Sora one, which is really cool.
That one I'm more hyped about, honestly. Out of all the other ones they showed off, I was the most hyped for the Sora one too, honestly.
Yeah, and then they said with that, all of the Smash Ultimate amiibos are done apparently. And I would love to buy it, but like I said, I just don't know because some of them are just so hard to get your hands on. Like they sell out, and like you're kind of screwed. You know what I mean? But man, yeah. I own a couple of amiibos, even though I don't really use them for anything. They're just really cool looking, and I really love the Sora one. It looks really good.
It does, man.
Then after that, they finally got to F-Zero, and sure enough, we were kind of right with what we had said. Where yes, they're making F-Zero. Well, they never said it was limited time, but we're guessing it's going to be. They come on. They're doing a thing called F-Zero 99, where it's going to be an online thing where you race, 98 other people, and it's your job to try to get first place. Try to rank as high as you can, and at least there's some replayability because there's all sorts of stuff you can unlock, which is kind of cool. So at least it's not just the game, but yeah, it's going to be like a little battle royale sort of thing where you're fighting all these other people and racing against them, and it's going to be part of Nintendo Switch Online. Which I don't know. Honestly, with how dead the series has been, I think it's kind of cool. And since a lot of people, what they wanted was like F-Zero online anyway, it's like, well, there you go. You can play it online now. I think it sounds all right. Like, not the best, but sounds fine. But I know I saw a lot of people were like all disappointed and mad and like, oh my God, Nintendo, I can't believe they did this. Yeah, like, who asked for this? I can't believe Nintendo did this to us. And, like, I wanted a real game, damn it, and all that stuff. And, like, it's all things where, like, I get it, but at the same time, with like once again with how dead the series has been, I don't think this is bad.
Honestly, yeah, same.
Like the series has been so dead. Like we haven't gotten anything in so long that them doing this doesn't sound bad. And like I said, a lot of people wanted some sort of online component anyway. So I don't know. Let's just hope that it does well and maybe it leads to some sort of actual other F-Zero thing. I don't know. But at least for me, I thought it was kind of cool. So,
Yeah.
Then again, they start talking about some more smaller games. They talked about Bandle Tale, a League of Legends story, which is like a little spin-off of League of Legends, I guess. It almost looks kind of like a little farming sim or whatever. They showed Son of Nunu, which is also a League of Legends, little side spin-off thing. So, I had heard League of Legends is like releasing a lot of like stuff. So there you go. Then they showed the newest WarioWare. I mean, I thought it looked kind of cool before. They showed off more of the little micro games or whatever. What ties it together is that it seems like there's kind of almost like a little framing device where it's like Wario and all his friends and co-workers. They go to like some island, and it's like you're gonna be like on a little map where you're like going around it. There's like a little story mode that ties all of like the little micro games together. So like that's a bit different, I guess. So it's not just like, oh, they play the micro games. It's like there's like a framing device, I guess. So like that's kind of cool. Then it showed some game called I think it's called 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 Chronicle 100 Heroes. It's like a RPG looking thing. The art style kind of reminds me of like that style a lot of games have taken lately, like Octopath Traveler. Then they showed DLC for that game, Eastward. It looks cool. Pixar's really nicely done. Showed some game called Wargroove. That's another one of those like tactical games, I guess. Showed off Dave the Diver, which I have not checked out yet, but I've heard good things about it. Basically, I guess Dave the Diver is coming to Switch. So like that's kind of cool. Because that's the thing, right? I don't think it was on Switch before. I think that was what the announcement was. That like, oh, it's coming to Switch. Like I said, I haven't played it, but I've heard good things about it. I've heard people say it's like a really fun game. So that's coming to Switch. Let's see if it says when the date is. When is it coming? I don't think it said the date, though. I don't remember it saying the date. Yeah, I'm looking around. I don't remember. It just said, like, here it is. I didn't say the date of it, though.
I don't think I had. No.
Then after that, we got something pretty cool. In terms of Mario Kart, we got the last DLC announcement that basically they are bringing to the cast. They're bringing back Diddy Kong, which we had not seen since Double Dash, so that's pretty cool. They are bringing back Funky Kong, that we hadn't seen him since Mario Kart Wii, and a lot of people wanted him, so that's pretty cool. They're adding Pauline, which a lot of people were like, hey, she's in Tour, which is the mobile game. It'd be cool if we can get her like in a main series game. So yes, they're bringing Pauline over, which is really cool. And finally, another one from the mobile game that I don't think anyone saw this one coming. They are adding Peachette, which is the, Toadette, when she puts on the crown. Yeah, they're adding Peachette. So like, all right, didn't see that one coming, but it's cool, I guess. So yeah, those are the last 4 characters. And of course, there's going to be all sorts of, stages as well, but they didn't really like talk about that too much. But there you go. So that's pretty cool, honestly. That's pretty cool. The only thing I'm disappointed is I really wanted them to bring back Rob.
Yeah, same.
I think it would have been really fun if they brought back Rob because he's such like an interesting character. I think it would have been fun to like have seen the return of Rob. So I'm just kind of sad that this is it. We're not going to get Rob. But besides that, I mean, they added a lot of characters. Like, I think it's really cool, honestly. I'm really happy for Pauline because I was really hoping like, hey, I hope she's not stuck on the mobile game. I hope they add her. And so the fact that they added her is really cool. That's probably one of the characters I like really hope that they added before they, cut the DLC off. The other one was Rob. And I forget, is King Boo in the game?
No.
Let me check. I just want to make sure because I don't want to like be false information. Hold on. Actually, can you Google it while I talk? Can you check King Boo Mario 8 Deluxe if he's in it?
I doubt it, but yeah,
Yeah, check
sure.
that out. Yeah, because the only characters that I would have wanted added that they didn't is King Boo, if he's not in it, which I forget. Pauline, which they added. Rob, which unfortunately he didn't make it. And I think that's honestly the only other people I was hoping for. Can't think of anybody else. So they got basically everybody I could have like hoped for, you know. Maybe it would have been kind of cool if they added like Dixie Kong, maybe if they added, I don't know, like Nabbit would have been kind of cool since Nabbit's on all sorts of games these days.
Yeah,
Maybe like Professor Egad would have been kind of cool. Just like some wild ones to throw out there. Like those might have been kind of cool, but I think they did say it would have to be from a previous game anyway. So, I'm fine with what they
yeah,
had. I think it's some pretty good choices. Did you find it?
yeah. He is. Yeah.
Yeah, see,
It's
I was
just
gonna
it,
say, I think they added him. Do you know when they added him? Because I don't think he was in the base game,
no.
was he?
It says he's in the base game of Deluxe. It
Was
says
he?
King Boo was confirmed as a returning character in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, along with Bowser Jr. and Dry Bones, and their
I
base game
Yeah, I
character.
honestly did not remember him being in it, but there you go. That's kind of what I wanted because I'm like, hey, in Double Dash, King Boo and Petey Piranha were like the partners. So I'm like, I want both of them in it. So now they're both in it. Perfect. There you go. So
Hmm.
yeah, the only thing that, like I said, the only one that's really missing that I would have loved for them to bring back would have been Rob. I think it would have been fun to have Rob back, but it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
Then after that, they showed off some new maps for Among Us. That was really random. I feel like it came out of nowhere because it's like, are we like near the end? Like, shouldn't we like get some like really big news stories? And it's like, yeah, new Among Us map. I'm like, that's cool, I guess.
Hmm.
Then they had like the little sizzle reel where they showed like, hey, don't forget that like, the DLC for like Pokemon is out now and different stuff they talked about, like the Mario Bros. Wonder and the physical edition of Pikmin 1 and 2 and Mario RPG is coming out soon and like WarioWare. Basically just a little recap saying, hey, don't forget all these games are coming out like later this year, basically.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. It was interesting. It was a nice little recap, pretty cool. But of course, what everybody was wondering was, okay, it's been, at least I thought it was a fun direct up until then. I know, as always, there's people that, oh, it was really crap. It wasn't that good. Everyone has different opinions. Personally, I thought it was a pretty good direct, but I was kind of like, okay, it's fine. But what is the last thing? There's always one last thing. What is going to be the one last thing that's really going to shoot this into the stratosphere? Can we expect like a really big closer? And sure enough, they had one more thing to share, and it's really cool because he says there's one more thing we're going to show or whatever, and you hear the little music start playing, and you see a storybook on a table with a star on the cover, and you see it open up, and you see like a little house that says Mario on the front, and you see like a little Koopa Troopa or whatever that he's it's like a little male guy. And for anyone who knows what this game is, you're probably like, wait a minute, is this what I think it is? And sure
Yeah.
enough, it cuts to the inside. It's Luigi in the Paper Mario style, delivering, calling Mario to give him a letter. And sure enough, if you're a fan, you probably know what's happening already. Paper Mario, the Thousand-Year Door.
Yeah. I was super like excited when
Which,
I
like,
saw it.
holy crap,
Hmm.
no one expected that. Like, so many people had been hoping that we would get some sort of like a remaster or hell, even a port. People were fine with a port just as is. No, this is a full on
Remake of the.
remake
Hmm.
where like the visuals look awesome and I don't know, it looks awesome. But what a lot of people might be worried about, like, oh my God, I hope they don't like remake it, but they remove all of what made it special. Like they remove the thing where you're like, fighting in front of a crowd. They remove all the different gameplay. They remove the characters, that sort of thing. From what I can see from the footage, it looks like everything's intact.
they basically built the whole entire game from the ground up and basically copy and paste everything that people loved about the original, basically.
Yeah, it looks like literally everything is there. It's just new graphics.
Yeah.
So
It's
it looks incredible. It looks incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything is there. Like the dialogue, at least from what they showed, looks like it's the same. All of the characters look like they're still there because they show off, Goombella. They show off what do you call it? They
Coopster.
show off, huh?
His name's Coopster, I think.
Yeah, is that the little name of the guy? Coopster, the guy that helps you out. They show Madam. Oh my god, I'm forgetting everybody's name. I know other names, and I'm just like blanking right now. The ghost lady with the big tickle bitties. Yeah, I know her. They show, Gonzalez, the little wild Yoshi that helps you, the little wrestling guy. They show T-Hawk. They show everybody. They show everybody's the point. Everybody looks like they're intact. They show Madam, what was the name of the little mouse girl? Miss. Shit, I can't remember.
I don't remember. I
cannot remember the damn names right now. I feel so dumb because I know everybody's names. And I'm totally blanking right now. The point is, they show every single character you would expect. It looks like everything is intact. They even show, because the thing is like, oh my god, what if they change stuff? I don't know, man. I don't think so, because in the square, the noose is still there.
Yeah,
that noose that makes you go, holy crap! This game, the tone is definitely a bit more mature. They have some adult humor, and they have some, there's like mafia, and there's like, allusions to people getting hung and all sorts of stuff. Because like Rogueport's supposed to be like super dangerous or whatever. All the stuff still seems to be there. So it looks like literally it is just a game with new visuals, but it looks like they kept everything else.
Literally,
which is awesome, because I would be afraid of like, oh man, what if they like sanitize it? What if they change the gameplay to make it more like the modern, Mario RPGs, like the Paper Marios and stuff? But luckily, no. It looks like everything is there from what I can tell. So I'm excited.
Everything's there, yeah.
I am excited. This looks great. I would love to play this. I don't even know what to say. It just looks wonderful. And like I said, I don't think anyone ever thought this was coming. It just felt like Nintendo was just ignoring the old style of Mario RPG, Paper Mario, because like think about the direction it took, and then they kind of fixed it a bit with Origami King, but it's still kind of like, okay, it was kind of a step in the right direction, but that's it. Like, what can we expect from here? And I don't know, dude. It looks like I am super surprised with Nintendo. The fact that they're bringing back Super Mario RPG, which looks like it would never see a return. The fact that they're remaking that, and the fact that they're remaking Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door, it's like, holy shit. It's like they like opened the vault and they pulled out the good stuff. Like, they're not like, no, this is just like play the old versions and like forget about them, like move on. Like, they're bringing out the good stuff. Like,
they actually are. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. It's just so surprising, but it's such a good time to like own a Switch, I guess is what I can say. It's so exciting, dude. It's so exciting. Oh man, but yeah, I really want to play a lot of these things they announced. Like, a lot of this stuff sounds really good. Even like the more obscure stuff, because a lot of people, like I said, they don't even like know about some of this stuff. Like the another Code R, the recollection. Like, I would love to check that out. I would love to check out, all of the main Mario things we talked about. I would like to check out like the Tomb Raider stuff maybe, and like the Prince of Persia game, why not? And I would love to check out I don't know, there's just so much interesting stuff, like there's something I skipped over that I'm like, I'm not that excited for, but there's a bunch of stuff I do want to play. So I don't know, I thought the Direct overall was pretty good. I don't think it was as good as the June one. I think the June one was a bit better. It just felt like the flow was like more interesting, I want to say. But this was still, I think, personally, a really strong Direct. and I'm still excited to play all this stuff. And man, it's so crazy because we know the Switch has got to be on its last legs. We know it's got to be near the end, but there's still stuff that, like, for instance, the Princess Peach game, it comes out in, I think I said March, right? Earlier? Yeah, March 22nd. So there's still stuff until at least, like, spring of next year.
Mm-hmm. Literally, yeah.
So yeah, who knows how much longer the Switch has? I mean, there's rumors, you think soon they're gonna like cut the cord or whatever, but there's still stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, but there you have it, guys. That was the Nintendo Direct. I thought it was really good. I am really excited for all the stuff. And then even the Sony State of Play was pretty good. I'm excited for some of that stuff. Like I said, for both of them, there will be a link in the description below, so you can check out the article that gives a summary of everything and has all the big trailers. But man, it's just such a exciting time. There's just so much good stuff still coming out. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Same. I'm really excited about all the stuff that they announced.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is like, man, I do wonder when we'll get like another Star Fox, for instance. Like we had that Wii U one that did really bad. I'm wondering when we'll get like another Star Fox. I do wonder like what's gonna happen with Kid Icarus, because there was that like remake, now that sequel that Kid Icarus Uprising that was really good, and then like it's kind of we want more, and there's been like no talks of that. It makes you wonder about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a whole bunch of stuff that I wish would get ported, like Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. We haven't heard of Metroid Prime 4 in forever. I'm really wondering what's happening with that. So there's still some stuff that's missing. There's still some stuff that's unaccounted for, which is, a bit of a bummer. But overall, I think the Switch has had a really good life. It's had it's had a really good library. So even if this was like the last of the stuff we're getting, I would be happy. I think the Switch did very well, and I think it had a lot of really good games. So if this was it, and let's say like Princess Peach Showtime is like the last really big Mario, Nintendo property that we get, and then after that they're gonna move on to like maybe Metroid Prime 4 will be on the next system, and same thing for like the next 3D Mario, and all the stuff like usual, next Animal Crossing, etc.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind. I think that this was a pretty good library, and I'm really happy.
Same.
Yeah. But yeah, there you have it, guys. That is the two big direct style things for this week. That is basically all of the really important news, I think. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention real quick. Any other thoughts or anything?
Well, like I said about me being excited, I'm really excited because a lot of these are games that I have played before, and it's nice seeing that there's a new breath of life being put into it, because I honestly like even for people who have never played the games, I know a lot of people have never even played any of the Paper Mario games. I literally even asked a kid at my school once who's a huge RPG person if he's ever even played a Paper Mario game, like the older ones at least. He says he's never played them, but he's played the other Mario RPG games. And that's what makes me happy, because I know that like he most likely might pick up the game. You know what I mean? And so it's cool to know that there's people like they can be able to get these games pretty easily now and play them and maybe even be able to enjoy them, And then like it allows me too that if I ever even beaten like I think RPG and Paper Mario, like the two games that were listed, I never beat them, but I did play a bit of them. It gives me a reason to go back and like, beat them, but also like be able to enjoy them in a new way. You know what I mean? And
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And then same thing with like the Peach game. Like it's cool to see that there's a new Peach game. I grew up around like the Super Princess Peach and all that, and I knew about it. But then now it's kind of hard to find a copy and stuff. And it's cool seeing Zelda. Oh my God, Zelda, Peach back in the light, And I don't know, man. I'm just really hyped about these games, and I can't wait to like get my hands on them.
Yeah, basically you echo a lot of my same thoughts. Like a lot of these, I think it'd be really cool if there's time, or depending on how LPs are going, it'd be really cool to maybe check these out on the channel, for
That's what I was
sure.
thinking for sure too.
Yeah, for sure. And then I don't know, like you said, like yeah, like for Paper Mario, for instance, if someone wants to play like a legit copy of Thousand Year Door, like damn, like you have to pay so much money for one of those stupid original GameCube discs.
For like
So
200 and stuff.
yeah, so to be able to be like, no, there's a new version coming out, you can like play it now, and like brand new and new and shiny and stuff, remade. That's really nice,
Hmm.
So like you're right. There's some games that people have kind of thought about playing, but maybe they haven't really gone around to it because one reason or another. And now it's like, okay, here's another chance, and there you go. Check it out, that sort of thing. So
Yeah, man. Like,
really exciting, really cool stuff. I hope that people check these games out. I hope they support them. And yeah, pretty good stuff. I'm excited.
hmm same.
Besides that, as we're kind of wrapping up, the only thing I really want to say is that yeah, this week, as you can see, was a bit different. We did the whole thing. We're like, oh, we're just going to talk about video game news, and that's kind of it, you know. But yeah, hopefully next week we'll see if we're back, and we'll try to see if that's when we're kind of go back to like the little bit of the normal thing where we'll talk about our week, we'll have news stories, all that good stuff. However, I'm not sure yet. That's what I want to say. I'm not entirely sure. I might have something going on, so the next one might be postponed, but it might
Okay.
not. So I'm just throwing it out
Yeah.
there in case it happens. So like again, it's not like a big surprise. Like, oh well, he gave us a warning. So it might get postponed, it might not. If it doesn't, then we'll definitely be back with like, there's all sorts of stuff to talk about. Like I said, there's all sorts of stuff always coming out to watch, that sort of thing. I know there was some stuff on the Nintendo Direct that's like, oh, it's out now. Maybe I'll check out some of that stuff and talk about it. Um,
hmm
so we'll see how it goes. We'll try our best to be back next week. But if not, then there you go. It might be postponed a week. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, I hope you
hmm
guys enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys had fun. I know I had fun talking about all this stuff. Like I said, I know I'm excited for everybody to check all this stuff out. And until next time, we are out. We hope you have a good one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.